Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and welcome my fellow camera bag fanatics. You are likely here because you love organizing camera gear, or at least that is how you present it to your significant other. Today I'm having a look at the Think Tank PressPass 10, a bag that intrigued me from the moment it was announced. The simple fact that it can act as a sling or a belt bag was the hook for me. I often use sling bags for smaller gear or a single camera and a couple of lenses, but for work I often have nowhere to put a sling, thanks to the double camera straps that I use. I also find that sling bags can quickly become too heavy when you overload them with too much gear. Since receiving the bag, I've used it for every outing, both personal and work related, and this gives me a good sense of its strengths and weaknesses as a sling and as a belt. When I first took the PressPass 10 out of the box, I immediately thought that it seemed a bit flimsy. I was used to thicker and stiffer bags like those from Peak Design. However, I have since realized that the bag is very sturdy and designed to be light. It comes with an overabundance of separators inside, and I honestly can't figure out how you would use them all. My preference is to have just 3 separate sections for the way that I use the bag. You can pull the whole liner out if you prefer to have more space, but I like the rigid structure to keep things a little bit separated. As a sling bag, there are 3 viable configurations for the straps. The first one, and the one that I prefer the most, is just having the straps connected to the top connectors. This allows the bag to stay flat when accessing it, regardless of which shoulder you have it on. The other 2 configurations allow you to select a preferred shoulder, which is a nice option to have, but not so great if you want to switch shoulders all the time. That is, of course, up to you. As a belt bag, for the last few years I've been using a belt that allows me to add pouches of various sizes. It has served me well, but I never liked the look of it, and it really only has one purpose. I also never really liked how I needed to store batteries and extras like flash remotes. Basically, I was just using a separate pouch for those. With the PressPass 10 and the Hidden Away belt, it comes already configured for how I want to use it. It also has zippered pockets for the extras so that they are easier to manage and less likely to fall out. Another added bonus is that if you want to expand the size or carry a larger lens, you can still add one of my larger pouches to either side. Another handy feature is the tucked away rain cover that takes a few seconds to put on. My biggest challenge for this, of course, is to remember that I actually have the option. Here's an added bonus that I didn't even consider when looking at the PressPass 10. I live downtown and often have to photograph within a short distance of my home. Finding parking is often a problem, so I walk to my shoots. This means carrying a backpack with my gear and nowhere to put my belt pack. With my old system, I would have the belt pack on my waist and the backpack resting on the belt. This pushes it down and is quite uncomfortable while walking. It also means that you can't work simultaneously with a backpack and a belt. With the PressPass 10, I'm able to shift the belt to the front and walk and work with both at the same time. That alone makes the PressPass 10 worth it for me, even though I hadn't even thought about it when I was looking at it initially. So let's have a look at what can actually be realistically packed into the PressPass 10. Keep in mind that this does not consider what is comfortable to wear on your body for any length of time, just what fits inside. This is the bag fully loaded and zipped up. Inside I have a typical set of gear for walking out and about. In fact, this is what I had on me during my last trip with my family. This includes an Insta360 X4, a Sony a6700 with a 23mm lens, plus the Sony 11mm f1.8, the DJI Pocket 3, and 2 spare camera batteries. This setup shows a Sony a7 IV with a Tamron 20-75 f2.8 on the camera and the Tamron 17-28 f2.8 as an extra lens. Next, the setup shows the Sony a7 IV with a Tamron 70-180 f2.8 lens on it. This is about the biggest camera lens combo that I would put into this bag. The next setup shows a mini drone with the controller and 2 spare batteries. Everything fits comfortably, and you could probably fit a small video camera like the Pocket 3, but there wouldn't be much more room for anything else. Finally, this is how I wear the PressPass 10 as a belt pack or a lens holder when my cameras are on straps. The biggest lens that I will put in here is a 135mm f1.8 and a wide angle like the Sony 20mm f1.8. I also usually have a couple of external flash triggers and of course a bunch of batteries. The Samyang 135mm is the lightest and smallest in its class and is the reason why I own it. This setup will get me through an entire day of shooting a wedding or a large event. Now obviously, no bag is perfect, and while it can be used as a sling or a belt bag, it isn't ready to be used without some adapting. This does reduce the convenience factor to some degree, since you are required to store the sling straps if you use it as a belt pack. The fact that I can take off the sling straps means that I'm also more likely to misplace them. This might seem like a trivial thing to complain about, but when you have a lot of camera gear that is black, it all blends in together and makes it very easy to lose stuff. I am willing to live with this possibility, mind you. So that should about cover it for my review of the ThinkTank PressPass 10. For me, it's ideal for the gear that I have because I like to keep everything as light and small as possible. For those who prefer larger zoom lenses, I would suggest having a look at the PressPass 20, which is designed to hold cameras with 70 to 200mm lenses on it. Personally, I'm not interested in this bag because once you fill that up, it's much too heavy to carry for any length of time over one shoulder. I would be curious to try it out as a belt pack though, maybe next time. If you found this video useful in any way, please feel free to give me a like or subscribe for similar content. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. See you soon.